He held my arms up and he leaned towards me. Then I felt it, an obvious bulge in his shorts. I pushed him and ran away crying. I hate nightmares. I always wake up with such negative feelings of anxiety and fear. Sometimes, even when we've woken up, those feelings still linger. But what do you do when you experience a nightmare in real life? An extremely scary experience that you have to face day to day, and there's no waking up from it. You can call me Bree, and I'm going to share with you the story of how I experienced a year of nightmares in high school. If you have a creepy experience too, like this video and subscribe. Make sure to turn on the notification bell to keep updated with more thrilling stories like this. Mr. Corvera. He was a family friend. He and my dad were classmates in high school. He left his high-paying corporate job for some bizarre reason, came back to his hometown, and then decided to teach physical education in our school. Since he was a family friend, he was always friendly with me and even told me to never hesitate to ask for help if I was in trouble. Little did I know back then that he was a wolf in sheep's clothing. Had I known, I would have done everything to avoid his class. So there I was, an unsuspecting teenage girl, excited to attend PE class with our new teacher, even though Mr. Corvera was 30 years older than the sophomore students. He was quite popular with the other girls. That's because he was also really good looking. Plus, he didn't look his age at all. He looked like he was just in his mid-20s. But our admiration for him soon turned into fear as we began noticing that he is a pervert. He was teaching us volleyball, and during warm-up drills, he would stare at our breasts or butts. During the lesson on ball serving, he called us one by one and asked us to demonstrate the correct way of serving the volleyball. Even when the serve was correct, he would find some sort of fault, at least for the prettier girls in class. Then he'd hold our arms in the context of showing us the proper way of serving. The disgusting part was that he would intentionally push his body into ours, and he would touch the sides of our breasts, our hips, or our butts. It wasn't long before all the girls loathed PE class. Some of my classmates would even now and then pretend to be sick in order to avoid going to class. But as much as we wanted to complain about his inappropriate behavior, we didn't have enough evidence to prove our claim. I knew each of us were afraid to be the first to speak up, especially after we heard about the story of this girl in the local college who claimed that she was harassed by her professor. Her credibility was destroyed, and soon rumors spread that she was the one seducing her teacher in return for higher grades. Deep inside, I knew we were each worried about that possibility of being labeled, ostracized, or misunderstood. So we all held our tongues and endured Mr. Corvera's despicable behavior. We hoped that another teacher would randomly visit the school gym during our PE time so that they could witness Mr. Corvera's behavior, but the gym was located on the far end of the campus. No other teacher even had a reason to go there during class hours. Among everyone else in class, I felt like I was the most affected by Mr. Corvera's perverted deeds. He was our family friend, and he used this as an excuse to have physical contact with me in school. When we would pass by each other in the hallways, he'd stroke my hair or squeeze my shoulders and run his hands down my back or arms. Ugh, it creeps me out every time I think about it. Whenever he found me eating by myself in the cafeteria, he'd join me and stir up uncomfortable conversations. He'd ask me if I'd ever had a boyfriend before, what kind of guys caught my attention, whether or not I was still a virgin when I had my first kiss, or if I ever made out with any of the other boys in school. Yeah, creepy. Then, one time, he even said that he found me very pretty and that he wouldn't mind dating a young girl like me, and ranted about how wonderful it would be to date him and how he could buy all of the things I wanted because he had money. Then, he whispered to me that I was his favorite student, and he slightly bit the tip of my earlobe. Ugh. I was sick to my gut. I avoided Mr. Corvera as much as possible, but he would keep popping up wherever I was. It was like he was stalking me. I started dreading going to school. Every day was like stepping into a nightmare. I was always so nervous. I was always so scared. But I can't miss my class every single day, so I kept going to school. I wanted to tell my parents about it, but I was afraid it would cause a lot of trouble, so I kept this problem to myself. One day, in one of our stretching exercises, Mr. Corvera told me that I was doing the position incorrectly. He held my arms up and he leaned towards me. Then, I felt it, an obvious bulge in his shorts. I pushed him and ran away crying. The next day, I was called to the principal's office. I was so nervous. I guess it was because I pushed a teacher. But to my surprise, the principal kindly asked me if I was being sexually harassed by Mr. Corvera. Apparently, a classmate had been secretly filming Mr. Corvera's actions during PE class, and what happened to me was the incriminating evidence she had been waiting for before filing a complaint. Mr. Corvera was forced to leave the school a few weeks after that, and I was finally able to study peacefully again. When my parents found out, they were furious. Our family cut ties with him. He left our town, and we never heard from him again. Do you have a creepy experience? Share it with us in the comments section below, and your story might just get featured next. If you enjoyed this video, share this to your friends and let's get it to 1,000 likes. And don't forget to check out our other Nutty stories.